News Radio 840 WHAS coming up on today's Louisville Real Estate Show. Did someone move in without signing a lease, bought land from the wrong owner, or could be making more money actually hurt your mortgage chances? And wait, paying off debt, could that backfire too? We've got Perry, Champ, Caleb, Vanessa, and others all asking questions you didn't know you may need the answers to. Plus, 8 things that can instantly reduce your home's value that buyers notice right away. All coming up on today's Louisville Real Estate Show. Hey everybody, Bob Sokoler. I own the Sokoler team at simpler.realestate. It was Remax Properties, easy, yeah, you know. And end of January, we switched over to simpler.realestate. More tech, but more in touch. We've got a great show, great folks who are with us. Randy Rocky, mortgages should not feel like you're reading a mystery novel. You want to turn to Randy Rocky at Swan Financial. He'll tell you something and it will make perfect sense in the way he explains it. So you can reach Randy at Swan Financial, 645-0736. Also staying with us for the whole show, Lee Harris over at Limestone Title and Escrow. You know, great closings, when you sit at a closing table, it should feel effortless. And that's no accident. Call Lee Harris with Limestone Title and Escrow while you're planning your next move, and you'll see just how smooth things can feel and actually go. You can reach Lee at 649-7964. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I'd love to be able to help you. No home too big, no home too small. I work in Louisville, Southern Indiana, surrounding counties. And as I've said many times, if I can't get it under contract, I will offer to buy it. You can reach me on my cell phone for a free, no obligation analysis. We talk. I'll come out. We'll spend as much time as you want. 376-5483. That's 376 live. Or go to bobsellslouisville.com and then fill out the form. And for a free, no obligation estimate of what your home is worth, it's just a starting point. Go to WeSellLouisville.com and click on the top of the page. All right, folks, let's start it off and see where we go with today's show's first question is for Randy Rocky over at Swan Financial. So Caleb, Randy, started, I guess the popular term now is side hustle. I guess he's got an extra job, right? And that's a side hustle.
hmm
So he's worried. Might it actually complicate applying for and getting a mortgage? The real question is, can extra income ever hurt you, Randy?
The only situation, which is very rare that could happen, is if you're looking for a USDA house and you go over the income limit. Outside of that, what happens is that's probably a part-time job he was doing. He has to be there for 2 years before we can use the income at all.
Mm.
So it doesn't really affect at all. In 99.99% of the situations, you're not, it's no effect.
Okay, simple answer. I love that. Here's a simple suggestion. We have created a little powerhouse of a handout. It's free, no obligation. Our 150-step process for helping to sell your home faster and for more money. If you'd like a peek behind the curtain, we actually like to have comparisons, if you're wondering about that. Feel free, give me a call on my cell phone at 502-376-5483 or send me an email, bob@WeSellLouisville.com, and put in 150 steps to selling my home. Just 150 will tell me what you want, and I will get that right back out to you via email. Lee Harris, Limestone Title and Escrow. Perry sent us an email. He allowed his tenants to move in. He accepted rent and a deposit, but the lease was never fully signed. Now, disputes have arisen. How can he legally proceed with an eviction in this situation without a signed lease, Lee?
Great question. So if they are paying monthly, which typically you do in a lease, then they are on a month-to-month tenancy because they do not have a written agreement. So before the first of the next month, which would be April 30th, you would have to get this notice out by then to tell them that you are terminating the lease as of May 31st. That would be the earliest you could do that. You can terminate a month-to-month lease with 30 days notice. So it's actually pretty simple. If on May 31st they are like, nope, we're not going, then you can file an eviction in district court, and there's no going back from a termination. It's not a question. You're allowed to terminate it, or you could get them to sign up for a written lease. Either way.
And if they don't move, what's the next
Mhm.
step at that point, Lee?
He would file for it's called a forcible detainer in district court in the county, and the judge will basically say you can't stay because the lease has been terminated. And then, of course, they would still owe their rent, and any fees for damages or anything like that. But
Yeah, no, let me be more specific.
okay.
If they are told by the judge they have to leave, if they're ordered to leave and they
Uh,
don't leave,
oh, okay.
then what?
That's a second process. That's called a writ of possession. So basically, if they don't leave, after the judge issues their order, they have 7 days. If they haven't left on day 8, you can go down to the sheriff's office. You file what's called a writ of possession. The sheriff will schedule a date to come and basically keep the peace while your movers or you or someone moves them out of there. Generally, that doesn't have to happen because people don't want their stuff put out on the street, but occasionally it does. And so all their stuff will be out. They will be out. You change the locks, and then they have to come get their stuff off the lawn, basically.
I actually saw that once happening in one of the neighborhoods right near our office complex, and it was shocking. It was embarrassing for the poor people who were being put out. You don't want that to happen. No.
No.
A reminder, we have rewritten the marketing playbook, and now we're opening it up to you. Let's see how much we do in terms of marketing and getting results. There are no secrets. You can send me an email, bob@wesellouisville.com. That's bob@wesellouisville.com, and put marketing tips in the subject line. Ready, Rocky, Swan Financial. Vanessa plans to pay off her car before applying for a home loan, but could doing that right thing, getting rid of that debt, actually hurt her credit score at a worst possible time, trying to get a mortgage? Ready?
No, I think it can only help because you did pay off the obligation you had, and also it's great for your debt to income, it's called. Although if it's less than 10 payments, we can exclude it anyways. But no, it would not hurt her credit at all. Actually, I think it would be a positive.
So if she's going to do that, how far in advance should she do that to make sure it shows up on her credit score, giving her maybe some higher credit rating?
Well, it's 30 days, or what we can do is we could put in that and show that it's paid off and send it to the 3 credit bureaus, even a day after it's done, if she's really concerned about that. And they'll instantly put it on there, and then it would boost or not boost her credit score at that point.
Okay, so 30 days is in advance of doing anything in terms of applying for a
Right.
mortgage. All right.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense. One of the things you need to do, folks, before you do anything, commit to anyone, is to take a peek at reviews. We've actually made that very simple and easy. Go to LouisvilleZillow.com or LouisvilleGoogle.com. And if you're purchasing a property for sale by owner, you really want to make sure you've got someone in the know, like an attorney, like Lee Harris, to vet the information. And an example of what could go wrong comes from Champ, who wrote us an email after purchasing land from a gentleman who was a for sale by owner. He was then told a couple of months later that the person he purchased the land from may not have been the true owner. And now police are asking him to leave. So can a deed be invalidated without notice? And what rights does, in this case, Champ have, Lee? And what should he have done? And what should everybody else be doing when they buy a home?
Well, this is a classic example of why you need an owner's title insurance policy, because an owner's title insurance policy protects your title. So if it turned out that you bought a property and you don't have title to that property, they would actually cover that for you. They would get it unwound and however it needed to be done, and have counsel and all of that to take care of it. So if he has that, the first thing to do is to contact your carrier and make a claim for that, and they will help.
Yeah, Lee, I'm just kind of curious. But what if he was a for sale by owner, didn't use attorneys, and maybe just did it on, legal stuff they found on the internet? Is there something that he can do at that point? Because he may not have title insurance.
If you don't have owner's title insurance, then the deed is not really, if it wasn't signed, if it was fraudulent, it wasn't signed by the correct person, then you don't really have a correct deed. That deed would be undone. Whoever really owns the property can try to get that back through the court or through you just letting them have it back. If it was not fraudulent and it was an error, for example, you thought you bought lot 3 and in the deed they put lot 4 and you got the wrong lot, then that can be undone a little more easily than fraud, because somebody has the money that you paid for that lot. They can pay the money to whoever the rightful owner is, or if it's just a deed issue, there's called a deed of correction.
Okay. But Sounds like you need to contact an attorney at the very least to try to get through this mess. Someone like Lee Harris,
Lee,
who can,
real quick
yeah.
on that. I was in a seminar, and is it true that there is 22% of all titles now have some type of serious fraud on them that you guys
I
have to
haven't
clean
heard
up?
that. I haven't heard that figure, but I will say that this case that Champ has is common in vacant lots. People will find a vacant lot where nobody's building, and it looks like maybe they don't pay attention to it too much, and then they'll put a sign there or whatever and sell it. And that is a very common fraud for vacant lots. So you got to be very careful if you're buying a lot. But I
And
haven't heard the
one,
22%, but
okay.
there are a lot of scams out there. Yes.
And one last thing, even people that are paying cash for homes, I cannot emphasize enough to
Oh
get
yes,
owner's title insurance.
absolutely. Because otherwise your cash may be gone.
Yeah, and
Yes.
work with an attorney because
Yes.
Oh,
they'll make
yes.
sure the I's are dotted, T's crossed. But Randy and Lee, so Randy, you brought up that point about the titles fraudulent. I keep seeing these commercials on TV about that they can just take the deed out from underneath you. So
Oh, yeah.
yes, maybe
Right.
then that's what you're seeing. So Lee, for anybody who's wondering, is there something they should do to protect? If they own a home right now, they're listening to us. What do they do to protect any possibility of somebody coming in fraudulently selling their home and transferring a deed out from underneath them?
If they already have an owner's title insurance policy, that would take care of that. If they don't, they can get one. Um, Contact whoever did their closing and ask them to give them a post-closing policy. Our policy is called an Eagle policy, and it covers now fraud because there's so much, as Randy said, fraud out there. The policy that we sell at our closings will cover any kind of fraudulent activity that might happen in the future.
And Lee, I got to ask this question on behalf of everybody listening. How much do they cost? What range are we talking about?
Well, the price of the owner's policy is depending on the price of the mortgage and the price of the property.
Yeah.
So obviously it's scaled to, if you have $1 million property, you're going to pay a lot more than if you have a $100,000 property. But it's probably, and the Eagle policy is just a little bit more than the regular policy. So I would definitely say you want to go for that based upon the fraud that's out there. But it's probably, as far as insurance goes, it's kind of the best deal going because you pay one time. You never have to pay again, and it covers you for your whole life. That you could live there for 50 years, and it's still covered.
All right, I'm putting you on the spot. Just one quick thing here to finish this up. So let's say it's a $500,000 house. What am I looking at dollar wise to get a policy? I mean, just ballpark it for us.
Maybe $1,000.
Okay. And again, folks, we can't hold Lee to this because I'm
Yeah,
putting her on the
yeah,
spot. But I
yeah.
thought it would be worthwhile for you to know. Okay, at least this is where it could be at a $500,000.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Okay, we're going to take a break, folks. When we come back, 8 things that reduce your home's value, and buyers actually notice immediately. We'll talk about that when we come back. Continuing with us till the top of the hour, we've got Lee Harris, who is with Limestone Title and Escrow. They do a really great job of getting your loan closed, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and making sure things go smoothly at the closing table. Also staying with us, by the way, you can reach Lee. I should give you her phone number, 649-7964. That's 649-7964. Also staying with us, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. They shop alone, get you the very best rate so that when you go to the closing table, you know you're getting a good rate at the best possible rate possible out there. Did I say possible enough times? Yeah. That's Randy Rocky and Swan Financial, 6450736. And if you were thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I'd love to be able to help you. No home too big, no home too small. And I will come out free, no obligation analysis of what your home is worth. We can talk as long as you want. We can do it by Zoom or by phone as well. Then it's nice to get a chance. We talk about it, and I can look at your home and give you an idea what you should do, maybe what you shouldn't do. We've had some great successes around the area, and especially this past 6 months in Norton Commons. It's been unbelievable. We've been listing and selling homes, and I know some sit, but there's whatever we're doing. Well, I know what we're doing, but it's right, and we're getting them sold. Give me a call, 502-376-5483. That's 376 live. Or go to bobsellslouisville.com. Fill out the form, click it, submit. Back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler, Louisville Real Estate Show here with you to the top of the hour. Thank you for sticking with us, folks. We're getting close to Derby, that's for sure. Staying with us, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. Mortgages should not feel like you have to read a novel and solve a mystery. Randy takes the guesswork out of it with Swan Financial. You can reach him at 6450736. Also staying with us, Lee Harris. Great closings feel effortless. That's really what Lee and the folks over at Limestone help get done. It's just easy, and you get the things done, you're closed, and you're on to your new house. Give Lee a call at 649-7964. And if you're thinking of selling, you can call me, free, no obligation analysis. I'll talk. We'll figure out the path, and hopefully you'll say, okay, that makes sense. You can give me a call on my cell phone, 376-5483. That's 376 live, or go to bobsells.louisville.com. Click on the form there and fill it out and hit submit. All right, so let's say you're thinking, all right, I'm going to make some improvements around my house. And one of the things I do when I come out, by the way, is we look at things and say, okay, you're thinking you need to do something here, and I'm going to tell you, maybe not. You don't have to upgrade this or replace that. So, for example, smart thermostats. So, according to research cited by Zillow, homes mentioning smart thermostats sold for about 1% less than comparable homes. I was shocked to read this as well. 1% less. You know why? Because people don't like the technology. They just don't want to have to deal with it. And they don't get it. And so they say, no, I don't want to deal with it. And they're shifting away, believe it or not, according to Zillow, from smart everything. They want simple and reliable. All right, so analysis, 2 million listings by Zillow, and homes with tile countertops sell for 0.9% less, 0.9% less tile countertops. And I will tell you, I've seen that, and I represented a builder many years ago who put in a high-priced home tile countertops. The feedback was so bad, he ended up having to take those tiles countertops out and replace them with granite. By the way, the other thing that I will add parenthetically to this, concrete countertops. That was a fad 15, 20 years ago. Do not go there. That is not going to sell. It's going to be a problem. So don't do that. If you got them, consider putting tile countertops. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Just consider replacing them.
Shingles.
Yeah. All right. So floor breaks and putting transition strips between the floors. You know what I'm talking about? The threshold between one room and another. Design experts consistently and continually note that inconsistent flooring disrupts buyer flow's perception. So buyers subconsciously interpret multiple flooring changes with piecemeal updates. I'm telling you here, this is true, and a lack of cohesion and lower quality homes. So if you go from one type of flooring to another, different type of tile from here to there, different type of woods, different direction woods, be concerned. Buyers will look at that and go, I don't know, something's wrong there. By the way, on that same note, if you have both a 500 Kelvin, 5,000 Kelvin light and a 2,700 Kelvin light in the same room near each other, you need to call me, and I'll explain to you in detail why you don't want to do that, because that's a real problem. Mentally, that will create problems for the buyers walking through your home, okay? And then also, just to finish this up here, staging industry data shows that if you declutter your home, it will sell faster and often sell for more money. When you're decluttering, in other words, if you think half of the stuff should go, make it 2/3, right? And then if there are pictures on the wall, I know you like Aunt Betty, but you might want to consider removing Aunt Betty, because people are going to walk up to that picture and go, do I know her? And then instead of looking at the room, then the space, they're looking at your Aunt Betty. Also, multi-level cabinets. Design professionals flag uneven cabinetry as both a functional issue and visual disruption. It breaks symmetry. It signals outdated design, creates unusability and frustration. Now, I kind of disagree with this one, just on my own personal, because I know some big, I won't say the names of the builders. They built those in, the uneven cabinetry. You know, they built in stacks where a little in the corners higher, and so I'm not so sure I buy into that one, but I'm just telling you my feeling. And finally, walk-in closets. Research is showing that mentions that walk-in closets can sell, you're not going to believe this, can sell for 0.6% less when they reduce bedroom usability. I'm not buying that completely. Zillow's part of this thing. What they're saying is, yeah, well, in a closet, but you got to pare down the amount of clothes you have. I don't buy it. I think walk-in closets are a big plus, but what they're saying is if the walk-in closet is actually impinging on the space in the bedroom and it's not a big bedroom, then they're going to deduct for it. So hopefully that is some of the things that we've seen. I think some of it makes sense. Some of it, I'm not so sure, but all we can do is put it out there and you go from there, folks. All right, Lee Harris, Limestone Title and Escrow. Tammy says she bought a manufactured home, by the way, Randy, real quickly, can you finance a manufactured home at Swan Financial?
Yes,
Okay,
a
good.
double wide.
Double wide, as
Mhm.
long as it's tied down to the ground, right? Isn't that the key or no?
Yes, or they have an engineering inspection, and then they have to tie it down. Yes, but it,
Yes.
it has to be.
If it's on
Yes.
wheels, it's not going to go with
No,
a
it's
conventional
not going
mortgage.
to.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it really needs to be above the year 2000
yeah.
for
Okay, or
sure.
newer.
Have a shot, no
Well,
newer.
Tammy doesn't mention the year of the manufactured home that she bought, other than she bought it a year ago. She says she's now dealing with major issues like water intrusion and doors not closing properly. She's wondering what legal action can she take, Lee, against the dealer or I guess the installer, but really it's the dealer, whoever she bought it from at that point.
Okay, so anytime you buy a product, there's certain guarantees you're supposed to have. If it's a manufactured home, it's supposed to be livable. It's supposed to be habitable, uh, and there may actually be a warranty if you just bought it last year. There may actually still be a warranty on it. If not, and it's not, there's implied warranties like I said, a warranty of habitability.
Hmm.
So if it's not habitable and you're spending a lot of money trying to get rid of water intrusion, which of course causes mold, and doors not closing, which could be a health or safety issue, then I would suggest getting an estimate from a professional or two about what that would cost. Send that over to the dealer. They may tell you to go away, and if so, then you always have either whatever's outlined in your contract, which could be a mediation or arbitration provision, or you always have the courts at your disposal to resolve that.
And if it's up to how much money, it's a small claims court
Small
issue
claims
and
court is $2,500
25. Okay. All right.
back.
The thing with home builders, many of them belong to what was the Home Builders Association. I'm not sure what their new name of their group is. They've changed it a couple of years ago, but anyway, at least you have recourse if you have a problem with your new home. You can go if they're a member of this Builders Association in Louisville. You're able to make a claim or at least force some sort of action. All right, Randy Rocky, Derek is nervous about some recent deposits, and if you're thinking about buying a home, pay really close attention to this because this could mean the difference between you being able to close on your home and not close on your home. So, Randy, Derek wants to know just how closely do lenders look at your bank statements and what types of things might raise eyebrows if you are looking to get approved for a loan.
One thing that raises eyebrows is if you're overdrawn. That's a big no-no.
Hmm.
If in the past, and also, if it's a small deposit, sometimes they slip through. But anything you get above, 10,000 or more, that we definitely 100% have to verify. So depends on the sizes. If you're in that 1-2,000 range, a lot of times they don't ask you to verify how they what where the source is from if it's not from your actual job. So it really depends, and that's a terrible answer, but that's the only one I can really say. And depends on the product, if it's FHA or conventional or VA.
Okay, I, I I guess that's as far as we can go on that one at this point.
Yes, it
Yeah,
really you just get your bank statements looked at, and if they
yeah.
have an issue, they're going to let you know. And a lot of times they don't if it's not above 10,000, if it's below $10,000.
And if the money came in from maybe not so legal sources, you may definitely want to think about
That's a real problem.
figuring another way to do this. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Final question, Lee Harris, limestone title and escrow. And we had a similar question. I think this is important because we've obviously this is coming up more often. Matthew wrote in, he's in Oldham County. He needs to handle inherited property in Italy after his father's passing.
Okay.
No disputes. What steps are required to transfer ownership and manage everything from here in the United States? Can he use a U.S. attorney like yourself, or does he have to go overseas to Italy?
Uh, I would think that the best way to do it would be to hire an attorney here, maybe an attorney in Oldham County or Jefferson County, and then that attorney could get in touch with and work together with an Italian attorney because the Italian attorney will probably have to draft the deed and those type of things, those type of documents, in order to transfer the title. So it's not that you're going to go to any attorney's offices that are going to say, oh sure, I got a bunch of contacts in Italy, but they can get them, so you could say, okay, I know you've probably never done this before, but I need a sort of a tag team where we do the paperwork here, and then the Italian attorney does it there.
All right. One final question for you on this. And I realize there's a language difference, but is the legalese that's used in Italy similar to the types of legalese that attorneys here in the United States use?
Yes, it's probably actually a little more old school too. A
Oh.
little more. It's probably a little more legalistic
Mhm.
because they've been around a lot longer than we have. So
Yeah, I was kind of curious if they
yeah.
different bars host a whole host of things. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
good. All right, thanks, Lee. Our thanks to Lee Harris, Limestone Title and Escrow. Lee does a great job along with their team over at Limestone in getting smooth closings going and just making it a nice experience when it gets time to close on the home you're buying or selling. You can reach Limestone Title and Escrow at 649-7964. Also, thank you to Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. If you needed a mortgage solution that makes sense, where they shop the loan to get you the best rates, Swan Financial is the place. Randy Rocky is your guy. You can reach him at 645-0736. And if you're thinking of selling your home now, even buying, I'd love to help you. No home too big or small. I work in Louisville, surrounding counties, southern Indiana. And for a free no obligation estimate of what your home is worth, simply call me and I'll come out. We'll talk, figure out how to get it sold. If you want to do it, I'm more than happy to help. For that information, call me 376-5483. That's 376 live. Or go to bobsellslouisville.com and enter the information. Also, for a free estimate of what your home is worth, go to WeSellLouisville.com and click on the top of the page, and it'll get you an instant computer analysis of what your home is worth. We're out of time. See you next Sunday on News
Bye.
Radio 840 WHAS.